DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
You're tuned in to DJNTV Live with your host, Brian Esred.
Good evening, everyone. We are now live with our second show tonight, and we are going to be talking with Brian Red and Wavy Davey. They're getting things set up actually on the other screen, and you guys can't see that right now. And I had to back their microphone off because it would come right through it. And well, you see, when Brian sets up gear, sometimes the language is colorful. He likes to use adjectives and verbs together in the same sentence. So he's getting some things set up, and we want to just thank everyone for joining us. If you're watching us out on Chew TV tonight, we are out at chew.tv/Disc Jockey News. I see quite a few of you are out there, and there's a few of you who are out on YouTube tonight, watching us out there also. So we'll be going to both spots and trying to follow the chats back and forth. Brian, if you guys are good, or okay, I'm bringing the volume up. So I have you, and then I'll switch shots to, and you guys are audio live and video live. So there we are.
Nice. Hey. Sorry, I'm just texting. Hi, we're here. We made it.
All right. How's it going?
We are there. Good evening, gentlemen.
Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, you sound fabulous.
Excellent.
Well, Davey sounds a lot better than you do, but that's
of course he does.
I'm looking at this microphone bar in the way, so
it's genetics.
I don't know if I'm even on TV.
Oh, you got it right in your face.
I have to go like this.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
All right, we'll make do. Right?
Lean over to the side.
Is that better?
That looks better.
Okay, you can still hear us okay?
Oh, yeah, we can. You guys sound great.
That'll work.
Money.
So
we're here.
Yeah, we are. Initially, we were going to be talking about some 80s and playing some 80s music and such, but I have had more technical difficulties today than I can shake a stick at. With our local internet was just having a real difficult time, so I'm not even I'm not set up and such. So we're going to just kind of wing it for a bit.
Well, we went to the trouble of actually picking songs, so
you did. Thank you.
Right.
Just letting you know that we actually did our homework.
We were supposed together all day. I've been working.
You guys,
my regular job and doing this.
You guys are the star students tonight.
Not easy to come up with 5 songs.
I wasn't even alive in 1980s.
Get out of here.
Yeah, you're young pups. I understand.
You're really old now.
It's before my time. I don't know what you're talking about.
You're really, really young pups. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So, Brian, introduce Davey for those who are not familiar, because a lot of folks know who you and I are because we happen to have no lives in here every Tuesday night. But Davey's got a life.
This is Dave Brown, Wavy Davey, one of my oldest DJ pals.
Yeah, we go way back.
And we figured it was the 80s.
Some back in the 80s.
Yeah.
When you weren't alive.
Before I was alive, yeah. So I've known Dave for a long time. Dave's also Wavy Davey B, some of you may know him by. And Dave is also the gentleman who's doing some of those cool voice drops that you're hearing here and there in mixes. He's also doing them for like malls and airports and
yeah, we get those once in a while. Marsha does it too with me, so it's fun.
The voice work as well.
Yeah.
So which was something that just kind of happened, and I think it's really cool.
It was a fluke.
Yeah, that was a fun show. And we got to talk about that last time. David, for anyone who wants to check out your website and such for that, what's that one again?
Yeah, it's Wavy, WavyDavyB.com. I had to think for a second.
Can't put that.
I'm thinking of my email, which is just WavyDB, but it's Wavy, WaveYDAVEYB.com.
Wonderful. I put that up in the chat and such, so folks can check that out. I should put it over in the other one too. So
probably open that chat eventually here. It's here somewhere.
There we go. Yeah, I think I have it in both. So good. We've got, I see Reggie and Tori and Howie and
you've probably seen teaser pictures.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, we have seen teaser pictures.
I'm trying to find.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah. Be quiet, dude.
We're watching Brian videos here.
I'm trying to find the
from the 80s.
Well, yeah, we're trying to talk. We're talking 80s, and Brian was born in the 80s, I guess. So
trying to find the Disc Jockey News thing, but I'm on the wrong browser. Actually, it would be easier to do it on the other one. So we'll print it off. So I want to see the chat too.
So folks are throwing out some of their favorite or memories from. Actually, David here mentions Fine Young Cannibals. Actually, that was a group I was one of them I was wanting to talk about tonight or bring into it was a Fine Young Cannibal.
Oh, here it is. It's right.
I was thinking about it earlier.
Well, maybe we should just jump into some of that, and then we can do some other stuff too.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and just kind of bounce around.
Or not prepared for. I don't know. Who wants to go first? Dave, would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first?
You can go first, Brian.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, so when I got the when I got the assignment, I was thinking personal favorites.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what you want me to do, right?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to kind of talk about. Yeah.
Now you can see the chat over there.
Oh yeah.
So okay, so I'm going to talk about songs that I feel like made a really big impact in the 80s. I would assume on a lot of people, but definitely on myself. The first one I want to talk about is a song that I heard, and I had never heard anything like this before. It was unique in that regard. It was a down-tempo track, but it was cool. And it had a drum sound in it I had never heard before. Very unique in that regard. And it's just a very well-made pop song, and that was Little Red Corvette. Prince, 1982.
Mm-hmm.
Off the 1999 album is my first pick. And that song is on a lot of people's favorite songs list. Even if you're not into Prince, even if you're not even into pop music, it's on a lot of people's favorite song list. Rockers have been like
music in the 80s for Prince.
Yeah, but that one in particular, people will say, well, I like Little Red Corvette, but I don't really care for Prince. It was just that good. It crossed boundaries. It was a rock song. It was a pop song. It was definitely an R&B song, but it wasn't like a dance tune. Didn't matter. Did very well.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a very unique sound. And we heard that sound a lot, that drum, which was the Linn drum machine that he was using. And some of his techniques and things over the next several years on the Purple Rain album and all the artists that he worked with. And the other interesting thing I'll add about that song, and I know I've talked about it before, was Stevie Nicks had gotten married. She was on her honeymoon driving through the desert, and she heard Little Red Corvette on the radio. She thought, well, that's pretty cool. So she, was kind of writing her own lyrics to the song about like this weird breakup or whatever, and had to go into the studio and like record it. Like, we got to go do this. So she goes into the studio, brings in these musicians, and they're doing it, and she can't quite get the sound right. So she calls up somebody at Warner and says, it would really be helpful if I had Prince in here to work on this with me, because I'm really kind of doing his song, just different lyrics. Says, well, he's in town. Let me give him a call. So they call Prince, and he just shows up and doesn't say much and lays down the keyboard in the chorus and walks away. And that was it. She never saw him again. And that's Stand Back. That's what that song is.
Mm-hmm.
If you play those songs back to back, if you play Little Red Corvette and Stand Back, if you lay them on top of each other, it's the same song. It's just a slightly different arrangement.
Wow, that's interesting.
And Prince actually, if you look at the written by or whatever, if you look at who owns the song as far as the publishing goes, I don't know who owns it now, but it was Prince. He owned the song. He got all publishing rights to that song. So claimed it as his. It was his. Wow.
Sure. Interesting.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So I have my list of 5. I was able to pull it up because I typed it. I had my notes, my 5 songs that I wanted to talk about picked, and then I was going to finish some of the research that was more of the factual over my personal, but we're only going to get my personal side. So, Davey, I'll let you.
That's okay. That's okay. But my question is, which Huey Lewis song are you going to talk about first?
None. If you can believe. And yes, I did watch the the link from last week that you shared with the.
You like it?
Yeah, that was fun. I'm thinking. I now have a bucket list thing. I need to at some point in time interview Huey Lewis on our show. We got to bring him in.
You probably totally could. He's that cool.
I was, as you're watching and you're hearing him, just the down to earth person and such, and it's like, if you could bring him to Minnesota during the summer when the golfing is good.
I don't know if he wants to go to Minnesota.
Well, he gets up here quite a bit at the different casinos and such. So that part.
When was the Super Bowl being played in Minnesota last?
Oh my goodness gracious!
It was the 90s, right?
Yeah, it would have been shortly after
early 90s.
Yeah, somewhere in that early 90s, late 80s.
Well, what Huey Lewis went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and he decided to go clubbing afterwards. So he tried to go to Glam Slam in Minneapolis and was refused entry at the door. And it was a news story where they didn't let Huey Lewis into Glam Slam for the Super Bowl's star after party. He wasn't big star enough for whoever was working the door to get in. So I'm wondering if he has a sore spot about that.
Yeah, I can't imagine, because they've come back they played in the state numerous times. They're generally playing about twice a year up here at the different casinos.
They got guys like you there who support.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of old people like me.
Yeah.
Play that song again, Sonny.
I was talking to my friend Mikey, and I told you a little bit about Mikey. Mm-hmm. And I said, this my friend Johnny's a really nice guy, but the weirdest thing, he loves Huey Lewis. It's so bizarre. Like, he really likes Huey Lewis. This is what do you mean? I said, well, no, that's like his favorite band. He said, that's a thing. I know another guy who really likes Huey Lewis. I said, you're kidding me. He's like, no, my ex-wife's uncle, that was his favorite band too. It was just a thing. There might even be a name for these people. Like, really? We didn't research that far, but you're not alone.
There's a 12-step program, is what you're saying?
But your first pick, my friend, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll jump in. So I mentioned Fine Young Cannibals. That was actually one of the songs that when it came out, the song that I like is Good Thing from Fine Young Cannibals.
Oh, yeah, that was a good song.
It just had kind of a little bit of a different feel than their other. She Drives Me Crazy, but it was just one of those songs, as you mentioned, that kind of hooked a person, and it became for that moment in time your theme song, for lack of a better way to describe it. And it was one.
Was Good Thing a remake?
I thought it was. I thought someone else had and that's the kind of research I was wanting to do. I know it was recorded later again. Someone else did it later in the 90s.
It's got that 60s Motown feel to it.
It really did, and I think that's probably why the appeal, because coming out of the 60s, that with my parents' influence and the Beatles and things that they were listening to, and then you came through. My older cousins were listening to some of the pop Elton John things in the mid to or the later 70s and such. So in the early 80s. So this really kind of fit into what type of music I was being brought up with at that time.
It's unique. I mean, when I think about 1980s and music that kind of sounded throwback, that's one of them. The other one that I can think of that really sounded throwback was like Katrina and the Waves Walking on Sunshine. That really sounded like something that should have been from the late 60s, early 70s kind of thing.
Oh yeah, and when I put them in at gigs, it's like, this is from the 80s,
right? It sounds a lot older,
right?
Yeah, for sure.
80s was interesting.
What do you got for us?
When I thought about this, I thought, let's come up with the list that when I was like in high school, because that's high school, college years.
Yep.
And now it's changed today, if you're asking me that question. So there's two different ways to answer it. So I thought, well, let's go back to when I was a kid, and I had a lot of fun coming up with it, because it was the stuff that we listened to, when we were hanging out, going to football games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Either you like the heavy metal stuff, or you like, the rock, or they did, maybe like the ballads and stuff. But I like the funky kind of music. I always like the Gap Band. So You Drop the Bomb is absolutely my favorite 80s tune.
Really? That's your favorite one?
Yeah. I've seen them in concert, and I just like the Gap Band.
That's not even my favorite Gap Band song.
No. Burn Rubber?
No. Actually, my favorite Gap Band song is Outstanding.
That's a good one too.
That's a really good one.
A lot of good ones,
Yeah, but that's more of a down-tempo track.
Beeper, Call Me on My Beeper.
Oh, jeez. there's a Mexican version of that.
Is there?
Yeah,
okay.
they do it now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's big.
Okay.
The Mexicans do weird things, like they have their own version of "Achy Breaky Heart" called "No Rompas Mas."
I did that at a wedding. They gave me the CD and I put on like, gosh, I recognize this. And they just packed the dance floor. It was hilarious.
Right.
It's like I've got to get the CD.
Gap and you drop
But Gap Band, I mean that's
83, 84.
One of those two. I think 83.
Right, late 83.
Yeah,
on that one.
Yeah.
And what else did they do that year? Because was that the same year as Party Train or the same album as Party Train?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, back then I had the 12-inch.
Yeah.
And I probably should have given that to you since I got rid of all my albums.
No, we don't talk about that. He gave all his good stuff away to Goodwill. Because he's that guy. I don't remember that. I don't remember doing that. He's that guy.
I'm one of those guys that doesn't want to hang on to stuff.
Yeah, and
it's like with my DJ lighting. It's like I go through stuff and not the really good stuff, but the stuff I don't use after a couple years.
You purge it.
I give it to somebody or give it away.
Yeah, I'm that way too. But he does it with everything though, and it killed me because I know Wavy's collection was probably better than most people had.
Sure.
I bought a lot of records.
And you pour salt in that wound every time we get together.
Yeah. How the heck would I know it's going to come back? They're getting popular again. So I mean, I like the funky stuff. Another one, "Funkin' for Jamaica," Tom Brown.
Wow.
I know we're going really funky here.
You're gonna you stop there though. Don't give us any more.
Okay.
You gotta spread the show out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
no, it's okay.
That was okay. You started us back again, so we're in good shape. Just making.
That's right. I'm assuming you guys aren't going to copy my list.
No,
if you do, that's pretty cool. Otherwise, you're going to say Dave is weird. Look at this stuff he's coming up with.
Well, no, that's typically what we say about Brian. Brian is weird. Look at this stuff he comes up with.
I didn't see that coming. I did not see that song coming.
But the thing is, as we do our DJing and stuff, you start and you're playing a lot of stuff, and through the years, it's like, man, I actually like rock. I got into liking rock. Never really into heavy metal, but I started to like rock more. And it's like Bon Jovi, Foreigner, and groups like that I started to really like.
We talked
Boston.
about Well, recently, John and I were talking. We were saying how, and I actually heard an interview. One of the Beastie Boys was talking, where they're asking him, "What hip hop do you listen to now?" He's like, "I'm 50 years old. I don't listen to hip hop now."
Mm-hmm.
So, well, what do you listen to? He says, "Well, I'm going back and listening to the stuff that I thought was whack when I was listening to hip hop. I'm going back and I'm listening to the things that I missed the first time around because I was so engrossed in hip hop. So I'm checking out synth pop and I'm checking out new wave and I'm checking out rock, because it's something. I'll find something in there I like because I'm not going to find anything I like in new hip hop because I'm 50 years old.
Yeah.
Well, so that's pretty standard. I think
a lot of people do that. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Since we play music all the time, it just kind of grows on you, and you end up liking it.
Yeah,
because you're forced to listen to it anyways, and they make the request.
But there's I think classified. There's songs that we play, and then there's the songs that we like, and I think those two groups really over the years has become two distinct and separate piles of in essence music. Where the things I listen to at home or on the office and different, probably maybe one or two of those might get played at an event unless I'm looking for something during dinner music and I want to slide it in as my little, I'm being clever.
Right. And I did a lot of that at my gig this last weekend.
Yeah, we need to talk about that too, so we can't forget about that. So this show might go long because we've got all sorts of things to talk about.
It's okay.
We'll get there.
We're here.
Okay, I'll go next, and then Brian, you can wrap up this round. This one came from 1982 from Toto. Of course, Africa is what gets all the play and such, but that's not the one that really kind of turned me on to Toto and made it like, hey, these guys are really cool. Rosanna was a song that it would have put me at, what about 8th, 9th grade when that came out, somewhere in that ballpark. And it was just there was a few pop songs. This is about the time when I was really starting to get into the pop music and getting off from under my parents' influence. And this is one of the first songs. Actually, there's two of them in this set that I'm going to talk about. But it was one of those first songs that became my song, and not my song because of my parents' influence. So it's always had kind of a special place in my.
Well, the interesting thing about that song, aside from it being the song that every audiophile plays when they're testing out speakers, because that's there's a lot going on in that song.
Yeah.
It's a very well written, well produced song. But I'm seeing some parallels here with your likes. And what I mean by that is Rosanna was always almost like two separate songs. You got the bit in the chorus, which is almost like, or the verse, which is almost like a chorus. You know, Joanne or Rosanna, all I want to do is hold her tight. That's like one song. And then there's that B section that, you know, meet you all the way. Da-da-da. It's almost like a separate song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the other song that's really like that, and it sticks out in my mind, is Huey Lewis's Heart and Soul. It's very much like that too, where it's almost like two different songs.
So you're saying I'm predictable.
Yeah.
I'm saying I know what you like. I'm getting to know my friend better.
So if he was at a wedding and he was in the crowd, you would know what to put on and get him on the dance floor.
Yeah, well, if he likes
Something
that,
like
maybe
that.
he likes
Yeah.
this.
Mhm.
All right, yeah, that's experience.
Yeah,
But that is a great song.
That's a good point you made.
yeah, that using that knowledge of music and such and saying, there seems to be a trend here in his requests.
You know, after that Toto album, they kind of went away, but they didn't. Do you know where they went? I'm asking if you
No,
know.
I don't.
Oh, they were busy on another project called Thriller.
They acting as a house band for Michael. In essence,
Well, I wouldn't call them the house band.
well, you know, backup band or
They were the
band.
session guys. on
session.
that
There
one.
we go. That's the word I was looking for. Session band.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
it. If you listen to Joanna and Africa and that stuff, even 99, and then you listen to Thriller, you're like, of course, because it's very similar.
I did not know that.
Most of them, not every single member, but most of them ended up on the Thriller sessions because they were just that good. And they were, you know, Africa and Joanna were such huge hits. So like, yeah, we want this feel, but with an R&B flavor. So they brought Q in to produce, and there you go, you get Thriller, which did, you know, marginally well, I guess.
Yeah, kind of well. Maybe, maybe you guys have heard of it.
No hype, right?
Maybe you've heard of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, we're up to Brian. Your song.
Oh boy, another song. The one song that I want to talk about, and I really like it. I don't play it hardly at all anymore. I used to play it quite a bit. Once in a while I'll throw it on, but not a lot. This was the first like all sample song I can think of, where every bit of the song was sample and it was intricate. It wasn't just a couple of samples, it was a lot of samples. And that's Mars, Pump Up the Volume.
Oh yeah.
Now, that was actually two groups, British groups, that didn't like each other at all. And the record label said, look, I want you guys to do a song together. So we don't want to do a song together. So, well, I want you to do it anyway. So that's what they did. They did Mars, Pump Up the Volume. The only thing I can think of, the only song I can think of that's more intricate than that was samples, and just the sheer number of samples used in it from different songs is like Fatboy Slim's Praise You. Because that's all sample too. Like a lot of samples.
Yeah.
And it done really well. Pump Up the Volume was the first one to do that. And that was cool stuff.
Yeah, it was. I remember that was such a unique sound when it came out.
Totally different.
Yeah, that was definitely different. And you get that at a high school dance and then be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, and it stuck around for a minute. I mean, you can play that all through the 90s too, or the first part of the 90s.
Yeah.
That was still on the track
Yeah.
list. People were asking for it, you play, you got a great reaction. It had staying power.
Trying to see what year that was.
I think it was 86 or 87.
88, yeah.
88.
Yeah. Somewhere there. But then again, this is off Google, and sometimes
I'm
Google.
pretty sure that was 86 or 87.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably 87. Because I know I was 16.
87 is what they're saying in the chat room.
Okay.
See, now everyone's playing Huey Lewis. They're sympathizing. They're playing Huey.
As they're chatting, they're playing Huey Lewis, right?
Yeah. There's,
We actually have freestyle going on in the next room. It's actually
Yeah,
going to
we
be
got
distracting.
tunes going up.
I'm going to turn it off because it's driving me nuts.
Okay.
And we got like Stevie B playing in the shop, and I can kind of hear it out of the corner of my ear here.
yeah, again, the mic's not picking it up at all.
Yeah, but I can hear it. It's driving me
Yeah.
nuts.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He's going to turn off some music. You got other music going on here.
Okay, just checking the chat room here. We've got the 2 different chat rooms going on tonight. Wikipedia, okay, yeah, that's the 87 is what, and it was nominated for Grammy in 1989.
Okay.
Let's see, so
87. It looks like we're getting a lot of them saying 87.
Thank you guys for being with us tonight, by the way. On the schedule for the remainder of the week, tomorrow night, out at chew.tv/discjockey news, MJ is going to be talking about mashups and talking about some of his favorite mashups. And then at 10 o'clock Eastern, the show with Jeremy and Dave Tournier and Jeremy Breck will be going live, their wedding chat. They actually recorded it today because I'm going to be traveling tomorrow, so we had to get it done today. And they've actually got a really kind of a neat, they cover a lot of different topics in their shows. If you haven't had a chance to sit down and listen to it, it's basically 2 guys that are and it's having coffee and talking shop. That's what they're doing, and they cover a lot of different things, and they've got some really neat topics in there. I wish I could go and say that there's 5 topics, but there's not. They hit like 40 different things in the course of an hour and a half, and they make some pretty good points and such. So tomorrow they'll be talking about getting paid in full and what a person should do as far as the contractual side of that. So they actually hit that topic quite a bit, but they were all over. A couple of the nuggets came from other areas, but you guys will have to watch that and find out where the nuggets. I found 2 of them this morning. It's like, I didn't know that. That was really cool.
Were you waiting for me?
Yeah, I was just.
Why?
I wanted to do the commercial stuff.
Doing a promo.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we're doing
I
promotion.
could have thrown a sound drop in.
Pay them bills.
We'll be right back.
Yeah, right back. Oh, well, he should have done that. That would have been cool.
Might do his ass.
I didn't even think about it.
Just jump in and go with it.
Just go with it. Okay, so let's see. So we've all gone through our second. Davey, let's go to your third one.
My third one. This is kind of a personal one. We had back in high school. We had a jukebox down in the basement area. We hung out. We could play games. And
how cool would that be?
During lunch hour, and they would put on this song called "Genius of Love," the Tom Tom Club. Oh. And one of the reasons I like that because my name is Dave Brown. It sounds close to James Brown. So in that part of the song, when they go James Brown, everyone go Dave Brown, Dave Brown. So that obviously that had a liking towards that song, and it had again kind of up in the funky category. So
that was an interesting collab. That was some of the members of Talking Heads, and the other members were from another band. I can't remember what band they're from.
How do you know all this stuff?
I don't know anything else. See, you know how to do other things. I don't know how to do anything
I feel like I don't know what to say.
this.
I'm just giving you my line.
No, that's
Brian
good.
it's like he does not have any cheat sheets.
I
got my phone.
But there's nothing else in my head but this crap. Like, you guys know how to do other things. I don't know how to do anything else. This is all I know.
This is impressive.
Yeah, well, David, that's how our shows go. Is you just feed Brian and keep.
You just said, "Give me 5."
Mariah Carey used to for fantasy as a sample. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Not as impressive as the band members.
Right.
The other one on there that was cool was Wordy Rapping Hood. That was a cool one on that album too. I remember when the video came out. That was pretty interesting. It's a very interesting. It was a concept album.
That's when the videos. That's where they really got popular in the 80s.
Yeah,
music videos, MTV.
But that was like a really weird. I've got it back here somewhere on the 12-inch. But that was a really weird kind of almost like a childish art drawing thing. A lot of it was under the sea stuff. Really, they were high. They recorded that in Jamaica, and they were really high. And a lot of fun. No, I'm not kidding.
This is a great one.
Yeah. Speaking of high, he went to Nickelbag High School.
Nickelback High School.
Yeah, I did. Nickelbag.
Yeah. Didn't Oprah Winfrey go there too?
Yes.
Yeah. And
I wish I knew her.
Heather Graham.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Heather Graham went to Nickelbag. Yeah. Nicolay High School.
Yeah.
Where is that?
North Shore.
Glendale?
Glendale, yeah.
Milwaukee.
Snobby area.
Yeah, where he's from.
Funny.
I moved out of that area, so.
Yeah,
he better.
Now he lives in the hood of Germantown.
Yeah, right.
Okay, let's see. The next song, I'll do one here. I'm going to do a Howard Jones, because Howard Jones was actually one of these kind of quirky artists during this period of time in the 80s that that it's like people either loved him or hated his music. It was like, and you would swear he was like this nasty rapper, but he wasn't. He was just kind of a quirky bubblegum pop dude. Big songs, of course, were what they were, and those are good. But the one that is Life in One Day was always this, it had this kind of melody and movement and such that was just kind of really kind of hooked me. Of all of his songs, that was my favorite. Life in One Day by Howard Jones.
I went to a state fair back to the 80s show in the 90s, like in the late 90s, with Jody and her husband, my old girlfriend and her husband. And it was a triple bill. It was Howard Jones, Human League, and Culture Club. Now, I was there for Human League and Culture Club. I was really excited about seeing these acts. And I didn't think much about seeing Howard Jones, who was the first act. But he really owned that night. He was that good. And I don't think people realize how big his library is until you really like sit down at a concert. You're like, how many songs could Howard Jones possibly do? Wow. He did a lot of songs.
He did.
A lot of stuff. So if you did, oh yeah, I guess that was a Howard Jones song. Very, very talented musician. The guy could write, the guy could play, he could sing.
Yeah.
You got a lot of love for that guy.
Definitely had some good stuff, and it was all pretty much compact between like 84 through 89, 88, somewhere in that ballpark. I mean, it was everything
About that, yeah. 83, I think, is when New Song came out, late 83. And then the single for What Is Love was dropped, I want to say in May of 84.
Yeah, I was going to say somewhere in that ballpark, I think, was when that came out.
And the only reason I remember that is because of association.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to do with, some playground equipment. And I was in 6th grade and the girl was in 8th grade and she liked me and stuff happened. and we had a boombox there. Her brother was actually my age. And the radio, and he kept singing the song "What Is Love" over and over and over again. So I know that's when that came out.
All the ways we associate with our things we associate with our music nowadays.
Yeah.
That's funny. All right, where are we up to next?
I think Brian.
I've done 3.
Well, I was not trying to completely catch your thunder on that one. I was just throwing stuff in.
No, that's good. That's good. That's wonderful. Because I didn't have the time to do the research to do the kind of stuff that I was hoping to, have a few things to share, but it didn't happen.
So you just go to Encyclopedia Red and
I just do. I pretty much go to my ace in the hole here.
Throw out a tune and let him riff.
Yeah.
It's like I know I just need to set him up and pitch that ball right in there and let him go. Yeah.
This is my second one. I think it's my second tune.
Let's see. You've done.
I've only done one.
No, you've done 2.
I did Little Red Corvette.
Yeah, and you did another one after that.
What? Oh, Mars. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
I did.
Public
Yeah, so now you're up to your 3rd.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's 3.
Yeah.
Let's see. What can we talk about? Oh, the other one that was just like you heard it and you're like, what the heck is this? I've never heard anything like this before. Kind of had almost like a tropical feel to it, but it was rock and it was fresh. Never heard anything like Hungry Like the Wolf. The first time I heard that song, that was just a mind-blowing track.
Mm-hmm.
It baked my noodle like immediately. And I remember I lived in Oklahoma at the time, and my brother had a friend who lived like in, I think it was Corpus Christi, Texas. He had money, lived down there. It was kind of living off his parents and driving cool cars and doing fun stuff and clubbing and things. He, excuse me, he came back to visit sometime in 82. I don't remember exactly when it was, but it was early 82. And he took me for a ride in his car and he said, dude, you got to hear this. And he popped in his tape of the Rio album, which had Hungry Like the Wolf on it. I'm like, what is this? This is incredible. And I remember like calling the record store and going to the record store for weeks and weeks and weeks saying, do you have the song Hungry Like the Wolf? And like, is that a children's song? I'm like, no. No, it's a song that I heard this guy. And no, it's really good. They're like, well, we don't know what you're talking about. Which happened a lot when I was a kid. I heard stuff before the radio station in town heard it or the record stores heard it.
Sure.
Finally, it hit. And boy, did it hit. And then the video hit. Then the rest of everything hit. But
Yeah.
I knew that was a hit. I knew it was a hit. We just hadn't had it released as a single in the U.S. yet. He had it on import. But wow, what a track! I mean, very unique track. Game changer, I think, for pop music. Definitely a game changer for all of the music videos that were out. They were doing some pretty cool, exotic videos, although they were just dudes from Birmingham, which is, if you don't know Birmingham, it's, I don't know. What would Birmingham be like? Birmingham would be like Cleveland or Detroit, or, you know, something that's not like, it's not even Chicago. You know, New York, Chicago, you think second city. No, it's not even Birmingham. Birmingham's like the third city. It's the second largest, but third in cool, I think, probably.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, Liverpool's between Manchester and Birmingham. So cool stuff happened in Manchester. Cool stuff happened in Liverpool. Birmingham, nobody was really talking about Birmingham. But yeah, they're from there. Solihull, I've stayed there several times when I go over to BPM. It's just a place. It's nice. I mean, it's kind of cool, but it's not like London or, you know, whatever. They were simple guys from working class families, and you know, very, very impressive resume. I still love them, and I still follow them. You know what they're doing, touring, whatever. I dig them.
I lost that window.
I'm seeing a lot of good ones here on the chat. Midnight Star, Freakazoid.
Well, they're Jimmy Spin's going off of your whole your funk thing, and he's
see, Jimmy likes the funky stuff, I can tell.
Yeah, he will add song titles, and you give him one and he goes 10 deep. And
that's all right.
Oh yeah.
Kind of random Jimmy sometimes. We're talking about one thing and all of a sudden he'll say Stevie B, and it's like, where did that come from? Why are you talking about Stevie B? But no, Jimmy's a good guy. He does a lot of our graphics.
Yeah. Okay.
On the, you know, for the thing. That's nice. Jimmy. He's a good guy.
All right. They said he's hopped the board tonight.
I am. There we go. I lost one of the windows here. So I have to reload. When that happens. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. I'm next. I'm gonna skip to because I did a Brian Red, and I have my 5, and then I had an alternate that I had picked out. So I'm gonna go to the alternate now because that one has a little bit more interesting song or story than the other. The song is "Money for Nothing" with Dire Straits.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now the reason why this makes kind of my personal memory from that time frame, it came out, I believe, in 1985, and it became, for some reason, the theme song for the football team. And this was during the time when, you know, the seniors, they picked this as the team song, and it was played very loud in the bus, and it was played here and played there. And of course, I wasn't at that time. We would listen to music and such when we were at the house playing basketball and when we were playing pool, but it wasn't something we really did in school because there were some of the cooler kids that in our part of our school that weren't into music, and then the other school was like cool kids were into music. So we didn't really fit in having that discussion in our school, so we never did. So we get out there, and the football team, which I'm one of the captains of the football team, so the other school's captains were into this, and they play this, and this became this thing. And whenever you would win, it was being played loudly, and it was all over the place, and it just became that song that whenever you hear it, it takes you back to that period of time when you're playing on a very successful football team and doing your thing, and it's just one of those nostalgia songs, and it'll probably be that way forever for me. And it's just one I wanted to share. So,
well, you've picked another song that was recorded brilliantly. In fact, I think that was the first full digital recording ever. The Brothers in Arms album was the first digital album, complete digital album they ever recorded.
And there was definitely something to that song when you could play that over your sound system when they're doing that little kind of a drum solo intro. And there's absolutely no hiss in the background. There's nothing.
That was the CD to buy.
And it was like, and you're like, oh, the hair on your back of your neck is standing up in your arms. It's like, oh, that's just so cool.
It was my first CD, actually. My brother-in-law bought it for me. I got a CD player for Christmas, and he knew it. So he picked that one out for me, and that was my first CD. So that's what I did all of my first CD player tests on way back in the olden days.
Yeah. Yeah, so definitely was a well-played song at that time.
Yeah.
Okay, Davey, what are you up to?
All right, well, I like Prince. I think Prince, was really put out a lot of hits in the 80s. One I've always liked, I played this at gigs years ago. It was like an ending song, Let's Go Crazy. That's always a good way to end the night.
I agree.
It is a cool way to end the night.
I just love that. At the end too, just crank it up.
I can't believe people can dance to it. It's got an odd beat.
It is an odd beat, but you know what? They come out anyways.
They come out.
And it's usually I would play at the end of the night, and they're already drunk. Doesn't matter what you put on. Usually,
yeah,
a lot of times. But it was one of those that it just kind of gave that like a final end of the night kind of a song.
In the chat room, how many people have done that? Have played "Let's Go Crazy" at the end of the night? Because I know that when I get to the point and I finished, and they're like, one more song, 9 chances out of 10, I'm going to play "Let's Go Crazy."
Really?
Oh yeah. I've done that so many times, and it's like, okay, so if I'm playing at a volume here, and one more song, it's going to start out with that
organ.
The organ from the beginning, get some rev, and then you can just
go, and it goes.
Yeah, especially at the end, I usually just pump it up a couple notches.
Yeah, the
with the guitar and all that. It's like, it's awesome.
There've been a few times when you've had the dual 18s and you're doing that, and that's always kind of fun when you're used to doing smaller sound systems, and then you get to the big one, and you get to that very end where he's going with the bass and such. It's like, that's really cool. And then there's this thing at the end, that little scream, and
yep.
I went out and I bought, on CD, because the clubs were pulling the turntables there for a while in the early 90s. But I bought the CD single of Let's Go Crazy, which is the 754-minute version.
Oh.
And that's the one where it's got, like in the movie, it's the movie version. If you watch the film, and there's that guitar break, there's a weird piano B in it. It's all that. So it's the long version, longer intro, longer outro. And that's the one I play at the club. I played the full. So it's like 754, I think it was.
Wow.
Something.
I don't think I've ever listened to that version as a full.
If you've seen the movie, you've heard it.
Yeah, but that's been so long ago.
If you just watch the first few minutes of the movie, you heard it. But it's cool. It's got a little more attitude. It turned up on the 12-inch too. The club had the 12-inch, but then when we got rid of the turntables, I bought the CD. And the CD single, I think it's an import from England. But yeah, it's where you get that long version of it, and that's the one I used to play. I've played in a long time, but I think you guys are right that it should go back in set.
Yeah, I haven't played it in a while, but I may be talking maybe 10, 15 years ago. I would always play that song.
Well, if it's ever been relevant, it's now.
Right. Well, definitely now. Yeah.
Right. Or the last year, I guess, or year and a half. Could totally get away with it. I mean, people aren't mentioning it anymore. They're not talking about it, but they're responding well to it. It's like Michael Jackson.
They're not requesting it, but if you put it on, they'll come out.
It's like Michael Jackson.
Exactly.
Same thing. Yeah. Or even Bowie.
Yeah.
You play Let's Dance, they lose their damn minds more than they've ever lost their minds.
Yeah. Because the cool thing is they haven't heard this. When's the last time they heard that? They know it, but all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah.
And here it is in the lexicon again. So.
Right. It's a good crowd song. You get it out there.
You're right. It's a good choice.
Troy mentions doing a twofer, basically backing it with Erotic City.
You know what?
That's another.
I did that. I would do it at the club, and I also did the long version of Erotic City. Although I would do a pitch jump of 3% on it.
Yeah, Mr. 3%.
And then I'd mix out of Erotic City into Sheila E.'s Glamorous Life. And then I'd mix out of Glamorous Life into Oh Sheila, Ready for the World. And then I would maybe do, depending on my crowd, I might do the Bird. Like I would just go for it. And it was fun. Or I'd jump out and do something else.
I was going to say, after Oh Sheila, I thought you'd jump into Whoomp, There It Is, just so you could make Jimmy's day, because that was his pick earlier, is Oh Sheila into Whoomp, There It Is.
What I always thought was interesting is like... the intro to Glamorous Life on one of the mixes, the drums that Sheila's playing sounds an awful lot like the Lynn drum on Oh Sheila. I mean, it's almost the same. So you could mix out on Without Love, It Ain't Much, then slam into Oh Sheila. And it was like, wow, because if you did a 3% pitch bump, it was the same BPM, whatever that is. Or it seemed like it was, or maybe it wasn't, but I made it that way. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, so I did that. It was fun.
Mm-hmm. Just reading some comments.
Okay, so we should be through 4. Brian, are you through 4 or are you through 3?
I think I did 3.
Okay, so then we must be back to your 4th.
It's my turn again.
I think it is your turn again. Yeah, because I did my bonus one, but I still have two left. So that means I've got 1 left, and Davey should have 1 left, I think.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
The track that really just changed everything for me, I think, as a DJ and as just a music lover, because in the 80s I'm into synth pop. I'm really enjoying that. And then I heard something that was completely different, and it took me into clubs and took me into more, I guess, technical DJing with turntables and things. Was Inner City's Big Fun. That song blew just the roof off everything for me. That was so good. I don't know if you were a big fan of that one or not.
I'm thinking I know I've heard it before.
You've heard it.
Yeah.
You've heard it. It's hot. And that's a big one for me. I think I have 5 different versions or 5 different copies of it back here.
Yeah, I was gonna say we can bring that up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's a weird version of it, but yeah.
Yeah, it's just the first one that popped up.
It's pitchy.
Just jump
Both
ahead.
beats down.
Yeah, it definitely would fit your love for the club music.
That is a good tune though.
It's a great
It's
song.
a great tune. Yeah, it is.
And
very
then the
different.
follow-up on that one was Good Life. Remember Good Life?
Oh yeah.
That was their other song. That was their
Okay.
follow-up single.
Yeah.
That was Kevin Sanderson, who is known, and that was actually, I say it's house track, but back then that was, believe it or not, that was a techno track. And what separated techno from house was either like a house track would have heavy piano in it, and a techno track would either have heavy strings or synth in it. Like that was the separation. And there was some beat differences. It was more electronic on the techno side and more organic on the house side. Way back, that's how they defined those things. And of course, techno took on a whole new identity of its own, but it was Detroit techno. Kevin Sanderson would travel from Detroit to Chicago on the weekends to check out the house music scene. And he ended up going back to Detroit and doing his own thing, which is that, what you just played.
Sure.
And it spawned a whole genre of music. So, yeah, I like that song. And the girl who sang it she was just gorgeous. I can't remember her name, and it was in my head and then it went away. But anyway, I recently saw a video of her performing that song on stage at some festival somewhere. It may have been in Chicago, it may have been in Detroit, I don't know. Of course, now she's like, nearly 60 years old, I suppose. She's very heavy now. But still, she's got those pipes. Same, she's exactly the same. So that was fun.
That's cool.
Kevin Sanderson's still out there too, doing something. But that was his production.
I've got 2 left of mine to pick. I'm going to go with Men at Work.
Uh-huh.
Men at Work from 1981. This was one of the early songs. This would have been probably one of the last songs that my parents were, as I mentioned earlier, with the finding songs that I liked on my own. This is actually one of the last that they kind of liked and that I kind of caught on to. This would have been during a time where they were the Hall & Oates. They liked Hall & Oates. Men at Work kind of fit into that category. Billy Joel and
Lonnie's The Tide Is High, right? They like that song.
I don't remember that one. That one never didn't hit my radar until I started DJing.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why Blondie's stuff didn't make our house for some reason.
That was usually the song that every dad from the 50s and 60s would hear and go, yeah, this is cool. This reminds me of stuff that I was listening to.
Yeah, it would fit that.
I was young, because it has that same feel to it.
Yeah, you'd definitely think so, but yeah, for some reason it didn't click. But yeah, Men at Work said down.
You live in the middle of nowhere.
We do. It was we were polka bands and old time music was it the country music? I don't remember. But so yeah, the Men at Work Down Under was definitely a song that I, as a youngster, liked a lot.
Down Under, yeah.
Yeah.
And I always thought it was so exotic. The video was just so cool because it was like somewhere else, and I probably found out it probably was like shot in Pittsburgh or something.
Well, no, they were Australian. That was shot in Australia.
Yeah, it was legit. But after you
The
hear
sun
some of
is not
the
Australia.
you hear some of the stories about where they were shooting videos, and it's like at that time you thought everything that looked exotic, it was really shot there. I mean, oh my gosh, look, that was shot on the moon. I'm sure of it.
So how long did it take you to figure out that he wasn't saying, and he just smiled and gave me a bit of my sandwich? Because that is not what he says. You know that, right?
Vegemite. For some reason, I knew what Vegemite was, and I don't know why. There must have been a family
I
member.
don't know either. That's really weird.
Yeah, I really, when someone had, it was when we started connecting with DJs from Australia, and they were like, oh, you probably have, you've never heard of this, and they talk about Vegemite, and it's like, yeah, it was in that song forever. I mean, it was, I knew that as a kid that this was this sandwich ingredient. I don't know why. There had to have been a family member who we were listening to it and mentioned that.
Mentioned it, yeah.
Yeah, but I can't remember who and what the situation was.
I have Vegemite in my home right now.
I heard it's not that great.
There's some upstairs. Well, it's an acquired taste, shall we say?
Yeah.
If you're an Australian child, you were raised on this stuff. You grew up with it. It's just what you ate. It's like eating Nutella or anything else like that. I like it on toast with margarine. Mixed with margarine.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. The first time I smelled it, I about gagged. But I kind of got used to it. When I was in Australia, I got used to it. And it's not bad. It's really not bad. I used to get loaves of cracked wheat bread and toast it and spread it. And yeah. And I actually bought a jar of it. Kraft makes it now. Kraft bought Vegemite. But I bought it because my daughter was curious. And we just never did anything with it. But sounds kind of good. I got some bread up there on a toaster. Maybe I'll have some Vegemite later on.
With the ribs, right?
Yeah.
Oh, forget it. I got other food. I forgot. I ordered heavy at dinner so I could eat later.
Uh-huh.
Got the full rack of ribs.
Very nice.
Yeah. So I can have the other half later. Yeah.
Okay, Davey, what's your last?
All right. Oh, I had two more, but I'm just gonna.
Well, we got time.
We got time. Go ahead. Yeah, then I can play my last.
Michael Jackson obviously was just awesome in the '80s. He came out with a lot of good tracks, and Billie Jean was like probably my favorite one of them. I play that song at gigs a lot. You're not supposed to always play your favorite song when you're a DJ, but
Billie Jean it goes
right.
Yeah.
So that's the time I do. It gets people on the dance floor. It's got a good beat. It's just, it's one of those songs that just, it's on my top list. Well, Brian can expand on that.
Well, I was actually going to pick that for my number 5.
Were you really? Oh,
I can divert to something else. It's okay. Yeah. But I had that in mind because that's something we had heard that we'd never heard before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was a new sound, and even the subject matter of the lyrics was kind of risque for Michael Jackson at the time.
Yeah,
I mean, this is the guy who's known for "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough" and "Rock with You," and kind of I guess juvenile love song lyrics kind of thing that are just universally acceptable. And he starts talking about the kid is not my son, like that's a stretch.
Oh yeah, and that's one of the reasons why that type of music was not superly embraced in this vicinity, is because it was a little bit edgy. Really, the first time that Michael Jackson hit my radar was the Bad album.
You're kidding me?
Really? Yeah. Otherwise, it really wasn't. He didn't have it.
How in the hell did that happen? How do you keep? Dude, there were people in Africa without electricity who knew the Thriller album.
Well, you know of it, but you don't, because it was this creepy, bad, evil,
wow,
let's go burn books in the streets kind of a thing going on.
How about Lionel Richie? Was he evil too?
No, Lionel Richie wasn't. But yeah, Prince and Michael Jackson, those two were kind of put into a genre that just really wasn't widely accepted, or so.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's insane. I mean, my gosh, there are like civilizations in South America who have never had contact with human beings who knew the Thriller album, and it's so weird.
There are
Amazon
people,
rainforest people were, with their spears. Billie
Yeah,
Jean,
yeah. Dancing around.
Yeah. And you got bad. That's
and
crazy.
bad.
dude.
It's the first time you expound. Oh, funny.
That is crazy.
So then, Brian, you got to find another one.
Is it my turn again?
Yeah.
God, I was going to talk about that. And what should I talk about?
Sorry,
Oh, who should I talk about? Who was? Because that was like those ones that I mentioned. I felt were the big ones. For me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
What else did I really like? I think, yeah, geez, what else from 80s specifically 80s. That was just that damn good.
Good stuff.
So much.
Yeah.
I got one for you. It's a little earlier, and I really like it. When I was a kid, I was a kid in the 80s, obviously, but my brother and my sister both just latched onto this post-punk album that came out in late 79, and they both had it. They both played it a lot, and which is unusual because my brother and my sister normally didn't like the same kind of things. But that was the Joe Jackson's Look Sharp album. And if you're familiar with the album, it's very post-punk. The only top 40 song on that album is She Really Going Out With Him, which is probably the one you know.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I liked it. I heard it a lot, and there were songs in there that I really enjoyed, and I was very familiar with the album. But the cool thing about Joe Jackson is every time he does something new, he starts over again. He's kind of like a really good comedian in that way, where he takes all his previous material and just scraps it and starts over again. The guy is he's a trained musician. He's not just some guy who self-taught or whatever. And the song that just, I heard it and I, another one of those record store things where I kept going to the goddamn record store and saying, "Do you have it yet?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about, kid?" And that would be Stepping Out. Do you remember that track?
Oh yeah, that would be my preferred of that. Yeah.
1981, Stepping Out on the 9 Day album. That track blew my gourd.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't get enough of it. It was so good. And you've got a lot of things going on in there. You've got an early drum machine. I'm not even sure what it is. It might be an 808. It might be an Oberheim. I'm not sure what the drum machine is, but that's not a real drum in that song. But he's playing this beautiful piano over the top of it and singing. But he plays such good piano. I mean, he really made that piano talk over that drum. So he took something very electronic, but gave it this real feel to it. Crazy good song.
Yeah, very good song.
Love it. I hardly ever play it, but I just love it.
When we get done, I want to put one of the group's songs that I thought Brian would mention, or we'll go with a band that Brian would mention that he hasn't so far. So I'll save that for the very end. My last one then was ABC. The song is Smokey Sings.
Oh
yeah.
It's just a kind of an unusual sound to it again, probably fitting the same thing where you have like two songs in one, the whole John, the whole that Brian's starting to pick up on my little
Martin May. Martin something.
I don't
Martin
know.
something.
That would have required me to have time to study, and I didn't have that, but I had gone through and pulled the song.
Just might ask me.
Yeah.
Marty, maybe one day you'll find true love. I would say maybe, but there must be a solution to the one thing we're looking for. Sorry, different song.
Different song, yeah. But I think I can't even think of another ABC song. There has to be another.
Be Near was the best one.
Yeah, there we go.
And then the one I was just singing is The Look of Love, which is my favorite ABC song.
There we go.
It came out in like 82, which I thought was better than the Be Near or when Smokey sings. In fact, Be Near I was big on. And the reason I liked Be Near so well is because there's something about that song where it was almost like a commercial for like cologne. It's almost like cologne music.
I guess I could kind of see
back
that.
then. It could have been that.
Yeah.
And it was a pop song. So it was almost like, okay, we could have sold the song to like Fabergé or Ralph Lauren or whatever, or some lady walking around New York just dressed like she's got money with, and getting into a car and it's snowing and he's got an umbrella and a top hat. that, you know, and then they played that just da 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 da. But it was a pop song. But I loved it. Absolutely loved it. That song came out right when my parents got the first VCR for our house.
Mm-hmm.
I was so excited that we had a VCR, and Dick Clark had a daily show on for a while, where it wasn't American Bandstand. It was on every day, and I think it was on like NBC or something, and he would play tunes. I don't remember what the show was even called, but it was Dick Clark, and it was NBC, and I remember, you know, being so excited that I could record the show and listen to these songs over and over again that were brand new. And I remember the first show I recorded of that had ABC's Be Near on it. And it was Christmas time, because that's why we got a VCR, because it was a Christmas present for the family. So I always kind of associated that, and when Smokey sings the feel of the song, it's like Christmas music to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's got that vibe to it. For some reason. When I hear that song, I think of Christmas. More so than Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yeah. Makes sense.
It's weird. Yeah.
So in late 80s, Dick Clark did a live Dick Clark Presents.
It was not late 80s. That had to have been 1984. That was the winter of 84 when Be Near came out by ABC. And he had a show on. It was like a dance show. It was like American Bandstand, but it wasn't. It was only a half hour long, and he'd do a couple tunes.
Yeah, I'm not seeing... Yeah, the bandstand was there. Huh.
It was short-lived, but it happened.
Yeah, I'm not seeing... Just kind of screening here. Okay. What are we up to? Have we gotten through our list?
I think we did all 5, yeah.
5 or 6 or however.
You said that there was a song that you're surprised I didn't.
I kind of actually expected you to bring something from George Michael out. I was having a feeling that, you know, just that you were going to dig into something from George Michael's past in your 80s repertoire. I knew Duran Duran was going to be in there. That one I felt pretty confident with Duran Duran. And I figured there would be some kind of a UK pop thing that I had no idea what it was.
I didn't do that.
And you really didn't go there. And then I thought, well, he's probably gonna. He might do something from either Wham or George Michael.
Well, Wham. My favorite Wham song is "Everything She Wants." I love that song, but the problem I have with that song is that the album version's very lackluster. There's the 12-inch version is almost too long. There's an edit of that's really good that you don't hear very often. It was the radio edit of the song. Because they completely eliminate the big B section at the end on the album, which is very disappointing. So I remember getting Make It Big and being very excited. Track 2 comes on, I believe it was track 2, which is Everything She Wants, or track 3. I can't remember now. If you were there, it might have been track 2. But anyway. And then it comes time for this B section. That's the part of the song that I like the most. And they don't play it. It doesn't happen at all.
They cut it out.
Yeah, the part where he goes, let's just say, why did you settle for a boy like me when all I can see is the end of the week? All the things we buy and the things something aren't going to keep us together. Girl, it's just a matter of time. That was cool. I like that part. When he goes way up on the girl, it's just a matter of time. But it's not on the album version.
But it was on a 12-inch.
Yeah, the 12-inch has this really way they add an extra B section in the 12-inch that's almost too much. So it's that radio edit that's kind of hard to find. So what does the guy do? Makes his own, you know. Yeah,
nowadays that's what you person would do.
Yeah.
Well, cool. That's our 80s, talking about some of our personal faves in the 80s realm. We got a few more minutes here before we wrap up. Brian, let's talk about what, if you guys are following Brian on social media, he had an event this past weekend, and there was a lot of questions going into the weekend.
Right. Yeah, I didn't know what I was walking into. It's a 2-hour event, for a college organization that, as many times as I Googled it, could find nothing on this college organization. Didn't know if it was a dance, didn't know if it was background music, and if it was a dance, what kind of dance are we talking about? EDM, R&B, hip hop? Where do you want me to go with this? So essentially, I was preparing for 7 different hour and a halves, just in case. And turns out it was a little bit of nothing. It was a background music thing for biomedical students who were actually displaying their poster boards up about whatever biomedical formula composition, blah blah blah, big word thing they came up with. There were like 18 of these big poster boards with easels set up around the room where you would normally have sitting in a dance floor, and these nerds were just kind of standing there looking at this stuff. They don't care what I play. They could care less. They don't. I could play the same song over and over again and they probably wouldn't have paid any attention. No one made eye contact with me. No one spoke to me for an hour and a half. If you don't believe me, Blanco's there.
Mm-hmm.
The organizer talked to me. The organizer actually worked for the organization. It wasn't a part of the organization, which was confusing too, because they really know what was going on. But I will say that I did have fun with it. So I dipped into some stuff and played some stuff that I probably wouldn't have had the chance to play otherwise.
Yeah.
Favorite clothes. That's when you can do that kind of stuff.
Well, I was trying to get reactions, and I did get some reactions in the forms of butts wiggling and toes tapping, but no eye contact and no acknowledgement.
You're staring at the easel board.
Yeah. We did a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy, and I thought of you, and I played Hooked on a Feeling.
Nice. We actually got to we had a Guardians of the Galaxy weekend with the kids, so we got to watch back to back the shows again this weekend.
Are you appreciating 2 a little more now?
Well, a little bit, yeah.
I got hooked on it. Mm-hmm. At first it was like, well, that was good, and then a second watch, I was like, we've already established all the characters, so it's just having fun the whole time.
Yeah,
I really
it was. There was more enjoyment to it as you weren't expecting the conflicts in some areas or wondering if there was going to be a bigger conflict here or this was going to happen. Now that the players and the main characters were established, it was.
Have you seen these films yet?
No.
No. You got to watch these movies.
Okay.
The music they play in. Well, John and I have been talking about this. I brought it up because John hadn't seen it. I made John watch them. It's comic book space stuff.
Okay.
But to make a long story short, the soundtracks are all like weirdo music from the 70s.
Oh.
So they're flying around listening to, ooga, 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 chaka, kind of stuff.
Okay.
So now this music is actually popular with people who are watching these films. So you can play the gigs.
But you know what? That is cool that you bring that up, because the movies that people see, and unfortunately I don't see a lot of them, but when they start playing those old tracks, when you go to a gig, you start playing them.
Yes.
That gets people energized again for those songs.
I was thinking about all the movies that I've seen lately that do retro tracks. And the other one that I saw recently that I haven't really mentioned is Atomic Blonde, which is kind of like a spy thriller. It's good. It's a good film. And it opens with Blue Monday by New Order, which I know is huge in the UK.
Yeah.
Everyone listens to that song. They play it all the time. But in the States, it's not that big.
No.
But people do know it.
You know it.
So it's kind of back in the lexicon because of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But yeah, the Guardians of the Galaxy, there's 2 of them. You need to watch them.
Right,
they're just that good.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're funny. Marcia would probably enjoy them.
Yeah.
But the music is, like Brandy, You're a Fine Girl, turns up in it. It's like the main song at number 2.
She likes that kind of music.
Right.
She likes 70s.
So John was telling me that, was it junior high you did?
Yeah. Yep. Well, there were a lot of junior. It was a small school where it had junior high. So at the beginning of it, you've got all the grades, and then the older kids leave, and it becomes a junior high dance.
Okay.
And these kids are, because of that, they know a lot of these songs and are requesting some of these songs.
Isn't that cool, though? They're not asking for the new stuff. They're asking for that. I think that's...
How many requests did you get for Brandy that night?
Oh, goodness gracious. I think we had probably 3 or 4 from different kids.
He thought they were kidding.
Yeah, I've had that too.
They were playing
I'm like, your dad come up here to ask for this, or
grandpa, or grandpa.
No, and you're right. When those movies come out, you start hearing this, and then they want to hear it.
You know,
that's awesome.
The first time I remember it happening in my career was Dirty Dancing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All of a sudden, the Contours' "Do You Love Me" was the song.
Oh yeah.
And to this day, it is.
Yeah, it's a great tune.
Ghost with Unchained
Brought that back again.
Melody.
Yeah,
That was the other one.
Yeah.
And then the other big one was Pulp Fiction with Jungle Boogie.
Oh yeah.
Marvin Gaye, Let's Stay Together.
Right.
Son of a Preacher Man. All those songs just came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden, everybody had to have them.
They want to hear them.
Yeah.
At an event. Yeah.
It's happening again.
Right. That's
what
makes DJing fun, though.
It does.
You know.
It does.
Bringing back those old tracks.
And for some reason, the first time we watched or looked at the Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I missed the Zune part where he hands, it's like, when it didn't click the first time, and then as we saw it the second time, it's like, there's how the Guardian Galaxy 3 and 4 are going to come out. 300 songs all on this little player.
And I have an interesting Zune theory, too. People are saying, it's going to be a completely different kind of music in the next Guardians of the Galaxy film because the Zune has all this music on it that we don't know. I don't believe that's true.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've been listening to the Zune since halfway through the second movie. If you've seen the film, and sorry, David, this is going to bore you, but anyway, there's that
taking it in.
There's that scene when I don't remember by his name, I can't remember, but the raccoon and the guy with the mohawk are locked in the jail, and they kept sending Groot out to get stuff.
Yeah,
remember that scene?
Mm-hmm.
And then the one guy, I can't remember his name either. I used to have these names in committed memory, but they're gone now. The one guy who's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cause a mutiny," and he was the one who actually brought him the replacement thing.
Yeah.
And the raccoon, what the hell's the raccoon's name?
Rocket.
Rocket looks at him and says, "Do you need anything else?" He says, "Yeah. Do you have any copies of dude's music?" He doesn't respond. He doesn't say, "Yeah, I've got copies of the music," because he's looking for some music to play.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't say whether he has it or not. Then you hear the Jane Americans tune come a little bit closer, and they fly away. And at the end of the movie, obviously, he hands the Zune to Star-Lord or whatever, right? So here's what's happening. He didn't have any copies of the music, but he knew the Zune was there. So he went and got the Zune, brought it into the cockpit, and that's how it escaped the explosion.
Oh, that was in there.
That's what I'm thinking happened.
Mm-hmm.
So what did we hear? We heard that, and we also heard him play Wham Bam Shang-a-Lang while he was sitting on the spaceship. And he was getting the distress signal.
Mm-hmm.
He was playing that song. That was not from the Walkman. That was him playing it off of the Zune. So we've been listening to the Zune for a while.
Uh-huh.
And then we had all those tracks in the ending credits. Flashlight at Parliament was one of them.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of stuff that's on the Zune, if you were wondering. And we heard the Cat Stevens track as well.
Yeah, God, I haven't heard that one. Was one I was like, oh my gosh, I hadn't heard. Some of these, you've heard obviously some recently, but some of them were like a complete blast from the past.
Yeah. But no, that's
a cool thing.
It's fun, and they're very well done. James Gunn did a really nice job with this.
Yeah, I would agree. Well, gang, we're going to wrap things up. Thank you for being with us tonight and listening to us rant and rave about old 80s music, because that's what we old guys do. Talk about
wonder if Wavy can do a cool riff at the end here.
to take us.
Let's see what he does. Let's just press play and see what happens. Ready and go.
Thank you for watching. Tune in again next Tuesday with Brian and John on DJNTV.
DJNTV.
Yeah.
You need your glasses.
I need my glasses.
Thanks, David. Thanks, Brian. Thank you guys for watching.
Nice
Everyone,
seeing you guys.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
And it didn't go. Why didn't it go? Because it was...